So here we go. So of course there's a shit ton of vocal tracks. You know, this is our, probably help if I had the speakers on. This is our air raid siren. And this will just kind of get us in the mood, won't it? So. Yeah, I just found this online. I think it was actually free sound, which is quite good. They have loads of really good stuff. Here's the beginning. So synth raid, this was all done on Oberheim 2 voice, which is this little doll over there, right? And Cunt 1 and 2, those are samples. One is the Nuremberg rally. I don't think it's actually Hitler, but I think it's some Nazi officer yelling his stupid fucking head off. And this is another person yelling his stupid fucking head off, which is the ass clown that thinks he's president. So yes, I know, political, but sometimes you gotta get political. Anyway, so, and I thought that, you know, it was quite fitting to have that in here. So that, again, is the Oberheim 2 voice, but it's also got a bit of delay designer on it. Speed sweep is the setting. I use a lot of presets because, to be honest, I don't really understand the, you know, why the fuck would I? I use presets and I tweak them myself with my small understanding of what all of that stuff means. This is, I think... just all Oberheim 2 voice, going with the Logic tape delay, and I honestly don't know what that is. That's 2 voice also, so these are just all kind of sounds to create a real apocalyptic beginning with just the some of the most terrible people, frightening people in history. I don't know what that cunt is. One of the most, you know, some of the most terrible people in recent and past history. Their voices, just to kind of, you know, give us some reality. It's one of the reasons I did this song, is just maybe I watch too much news or something. This is the Farfisa going through the cluster flux. And we will get to the bass. As you know, it is this. So, let's see. We all know what Donald Trump sounds like, but I've kind of messed with him. So I've just warped him a bit. I mean, let's face it, that's really what he sounds like. So there's that, right? And I'm not quite sure what this is. I think this is someone going, whoa, that's probably me. And that's me, yeah, just with some pitch shifting and a delay on it. I just kind of felt like there needed to be a sound of someone getting punched in the stomach in slow motion. So that's the beginning pretty much. Which brings us to the bass. Now, the bass is done on the ARP 2600, but also with the 1613 sampler, which actually is in repair at the moment with Nick Montoya. It went out yesterday or a couple of days ago when I was working on Space Oddity. So there you go. So I used that, and here it is. So. I know the timing's a little weird. It kind of has a grace note in the beginning there. Da-dum, dum, dum. But I kind of did that on purpose. With this guy, this is actually not patched the way I usually would because we were trying to repair the sequencer yesterday. But we're running the square wave into the sequencer to see if the clock was broken, which it is. But anyway, so I don't really patch this very much. I usually use it without patch chords because I don't have very many patch chords and I need to get more of them. And I also am not a very gifted patcher, but I want to change that. I just kind of usually get sidetracked with writing music, and for some bizarre reason I get sidetracked and don't get into patching. But I know how to patch this thing a little bit. But what I usually wind up doing is, I don't have it on right now, but when you use this VCO2, and I'm quite honestly, I don't really know what it's doing, but I'm just thinking that this is maybe modulating this. I'm not quite sure, but when you crank this up, it really gives it a beautiful, gnarly wobble. This is the mixer, so you've got to have these two going to hear what the hell that's doing. Usually, I don't know, that's not necessarily true. I guess some of you might know that better than me, but that's okay. You know, as we know in synthesis, there's not really any right or wrong, and nobody really knows anything. So that's my theory. But this is my favorite synth in the house. I'm sorry if the other ones are listening, but it really is. It's still quite a mystery to me. As I said, I've only kind of scratched the surface on the capabilities of it, and it's just this modulation monster. And you don't really have to do much to make it sound absolutely amazing. And it's got a really beautiful spring reverb in there too. So this is what I used for the bass. That's what I'm getting at. But with the sequencer, I did not play it. I sequenced it. And then, so moving right along, probably what's going to happen next is the vocal, right? So a lot of this is just synth. So the vocal I did with a lot of effects on it. So I did this vocal before I got this mic. This is the bastard mic, the BM88 that I got from a friend in the UK. If you're interested in getting one, let me know and I will hook you up. His name is Owen, and he does these mics. He gave me two of them. He does these as kind of a hobby, but they're very cool little lo-fi mics. I find that I have to pop a little bit more distortion on them depending on the effect I'm going for, but they're lovely. They're a lot of fun. They're very fun to use live too. If you guys caught the live stream that we did about a month ago, I used it in that. So anyway, here's the vocal. I've got an isotope setting on there that creates a lot of distortion, and also the amp and Logic. I kind of cheated on that one, but that's okay. You know. So here's the vocal. Just like witches, I broke myself. Evil minds that plot destruction. So, and also what I will say, and I've said this before about this vocal, is I haven't sung like this in a long time. I used to be in a rock band, and when I was younger. And I used to do a lot of this big, chesty, screamy sort of singing. But to be honest, back then it didn't sound as cool as this. I wish I sounded like this back then. Let me have it. It's rare that I compliment myself. But also, I feel like when you are singing in that style, it sounds a lot better with a lot of distortion on it. Otherwise, you kind of start to sound like a bit too hair metal for my taste. Let's move up into here and death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed mind. So yes, that did hurt my throat, but there's a certain way that you should sing when you're doing that. Oops, there went my finger. Now, what I am going to do, against my better judgment, is turn off the distortion so you can hear what it actually sounds like. Death and hatred to mankind. And the delay. Hang on a minute. God only knows what this is going to sound like. Jesus Christ. Yeah, not bad. It's cool. So yeah, I was really, really, really happy with that vocal. I did a few different takes of it, and I changed the rhythm to the bass, so I had to redo it a few times. But it was fun. This song really was a lot of fun to do. And then, so, as you know, War Pigs, there's a part that goes dun 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 dun, right? That's exactly how it goes. So I recreated that part with a big kind of proggy, for want of a better word, vocal like this. Yeah, so I was trying to go for like those really old school sort of backing vocals that like those big vibrato-y T-Rex style backing vocals. I think Bowie did that style quite a bit too. Just kind of really quite outrageous sound. So that was that. Now these are the iomes, which is the do part that is towards the end of the real song. But this was done on the Pro 1, which was, ouch, just banged my elbow, which was done on this guy, which, as you may or may not know, was the very first synth I got in 2004. And it has that slight curve to it because my nephew, when he was, I don't know, about 3, decided it would be fun to stamp on top of it. Little asshole. I'm just kidding. Well, it is, let's face it, it's a dick move. Yeah. So, but it is in good shape. It does need a little bit of a tune-up. But that is some history behind my Pro 1 and why it has got a little bit of a funny shape to it. And apparently it also used to belong to Carlos Santana, according to our eBay buyer in 2004. Which, funnily enough, we got that for $350 back then. You know, 2004 doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is, isn't it? So, Farfisa, right? Moving right along. I think my coffee's kicking in now. This guy. So this just mirrors the vocal part. I think. I think this is the same thing here. Okay. So that's the Farfisa with the cluster flux pedal. I'm not quite sure where it is because I just used it the other day for a video we were making. Oh, here it is. Now, this little guy is awesome. I love it, and I use it a shit ton. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of you know how the fuck a flanger pedal works, but that gets, you know, a really beautiful bend to it doing this. That's about it, really. You kind of have to feedback somewhere around here. You don't necessarily need the LFO on to do that, but it is in the flange setting. So that's, you know, I slap that on the Farfisa a lot because it's just a really nice, yeah, let's put it on the floor, great spot for that. Yeah, it's a really nice combination. This is the bass in the middle part, politicians hide themselves away, which is this guy. And I think actually this was done on the Oberheim 2 voice, not the harp. I think. Yep, that's the, yeah. Yeah, so that's the Oberheim 2 voice. I just have kind of a long release on it, so it sounds a little bit like it's being sequenced, if you know what I mean. And I've actually got some isotope plugins on it just to kind of warm it up a little, tape saturation, and the dynamic EQ, right? So then, and I don't know if I should be using those two together or not, but I liked the way it sounded. That's my engineering expertise right there in a bottle. I don't know what the hell this is. I think this is also the Oberheim 2 voice, which kind of was serving as a guitar. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I pulled the low end out of that so that it wouldn't clash with the real bass. And then I used a different track for the Oberheim here because it needs to be bass. But here it was serving more as a guitar. So I really kind of try to just stick to having one bass. But sometimes I blend a lot of bass sounds together, but as long as the frequencies don't clash, because I've learned my lesson with that. Kind of. And we'll go into the drums. I used battery a lot on that. But going back up for a second, the backing vocals here, there's just a... Oh, sorry. No, that's the lead. Okay. They only stop the So that, needless to say, was a lot of fun too. I got to do another really shreddy vocal part. And then there was the last shreddy vocal part. Now in darkness the world stops. And it came with a high part. Ashes where the body's burning. No more weapons of the power. Okay. Then there's a big screamy thing going on. Satan laughing spreads his wings. I went through a lot of Manuka honey and tea doing this song. It was fun. So there's the bass. We've done the bass. We've done the Oberheim. And this is Wait Till the Judgment Day Comes. Day comes. Wait till their judgment 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 day comes. And I'm just kind of picturing some shitty political leader in a padded cell repeating this to themselves over and over again. Because perhaps they've realized their mistakes and they've been put away. But, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking. That's actually the character I was going for. Wait till their judgment day comes! And that's it. Whoops, shit. Yeah, so, yep, that's me, the little scream at the end. Yoy, yoy, yoy. So, now the drums. The drums. This is I think all battery. I combined a few different snares. I was kind of going through wanting to use samples for this. Because honestly, I really want to get my hands on an old school 90s sampler or 80s sampler, like a Mirage or something like that, that will give me a big, stampy kind of Ministry, Skinny Puppy kind of sound. But I need to learn more about that. I'm not very well versed in that era of gear. I'm getting there, but and also it's, you know, it's not exactly the most cost-effective way to go at the moment. But so this is pretty straightforward. I'm using battery 4, FM7. Yeah, everything's battery 4 on here. I kind of got in my head the now the one that's muted, I didn't use that. It's called Neubauten snare, and it just wasn't needed. I was actually quite inspired by hang on, what am I trying to find here? Let me go at the end. So I was kind of inspired by 9 Inch Nails' Reptile with this song. And that was kind of why I was thinking about using samples for drums and stuff. I could not find the right thing, so I kind of wound up programming my own thing. I couldn't find something that worked. Yeah. And I also used Dave Spears' M-Tron, which is always a really fucking great way to go if you're looking for a Mellotron sound. There's actually Black Sabbath Orchestra on there, so I used that. And it sounded good. It was actually the right thing to use, too. I didn't use it just because of that. This is a tambourine. Big deal. Not that exciting, but... yeah. So these are just like really bitty, snarly drums. I will say about my drum programming, I tend to keep it simple. I'm certainly not Aphex Twin or Square Pusher when it comes to that shit. But honestly, that's not the way I hear things. I think I hear more density in vocals and keyboards and bass and stuff like that rather than in drums. Which is why I'm always quite interested in collaborating with people that are really shit-hot drum programmers. I think it's really interesting and trying to learn a bit from them. But I don't feel like I naturally hear drum parts. I do maybe on a secondary level, but I think the drum parts are more of a cosmetic thing for me. Kind of like lyrics. Like I hear vocal parts, melodies first, and then the lyrics kind of crystallize around that. I'm not really crazy about lyrics. Like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. I think that's it, you guys. That's it. That's the whole song. Hope you dug it.